Hello, beautiful community. Hello, everyone. I really wanted to create this video and provide support for you during these times, particularly this holiday season and in general during these times of humanity we're going through together. There is so much chaos and so much overwhelm. Like, overwhelm is probably number one struggle for people. There is so much information everywhere. The pace of life is so rapid. There is so much pressure. There is so much like demand, right? And the way we're trained to live our life is to accomplish all these goals, keep working hard and keep moving forward, and many people feel extremely stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, and at some point you can just drop into depression because you feel like, okay, I'm failing with keeping up. I'm failing with keeping up. Well, that is the reason I wanted to make this video and provide you this beforehand spiritual support so you can reorient yourself. You can, course correct. You can go deep inside and reconnect with yourself and your own spiritual guidance, because this is not what we're supposed to do. It looks like we have to accelerate and run like crazy and achieve some kind of goals right now, but this is not what we're supposed to do. Many people feel a little bit confused and disoriented with uncertainty and all these like recession, economic troubles, what is going in the world, what is going on in the world, and like what are the forecasts for humanity for the nearest future, right? There is so much polarization is happening. There is so much of conflict is happening everywhere, and we really want to beforehand to take care of ourselves and then be support for people we love, right, beforehand. So it's not our responsibility to change the world right away. Yet by taking care of ourselves and the people we love and our community, that's what we can do, and that's what is important. So refocusing, right, from the world stuff and what's going on in the country and in the world to self and the community. That is the most healthy way to deal with all of this that is happening. A few words about how I understand what is actually happening in the world, right? With the humanity in general. This is very unusual times, and we haven't experienced such situation in human history, as far as we know, right? We probably don't know certain things if we follow the cycles of time, right? All these yugas that humanity moves from a golden age to like iron age, and like it kind of the consciousness arises and then drops down, right? But what we know in our recorded history, this is something that we haven't experienced as humankind. So it can be really confusing, right? It can be intimidating. It can create anxiety, depression, and just very uneasy emotional response, right? So I wanted to explain how I see it and how you can take care of yourself and the loved ones in your life so you can move through this transition. Basically, we don't know how long the transition will take, but we know what can help us to do well during the transition. The way I see it is the old system, the way it was designed, right, for thousands of years is falling apart. Let's just call it the old system. And the new consciousness arises, but it doesn't have any templates. Like, new consciousness is powerful and it's taking over, right? So many people are awakening, yet we don't have any templates, we don't have any system and structures adjusted to this new consciousness. And the old system doesn't want to die, right? If we see collective consciousness as a something that is like a live organism, like you have cells in your body and then you have yourself as the whole body. The same is here. You know, there is certain collective awareness, this certain collective being that is agonizing and dying, and it's totally fine to die. Everything is going through the cycle of death and rebirth. Yet, you know, many times when the being is dying, it's going through agony, right? And the more that being is trying to stay alive, the harder the agony and the uglier the agony can become. So this is what I see right now. The old system is dying, and all these structures and systems of the society are dying as well. They become dysfunctional, and that feels very intimidating because many of us invested our lifetimes, you know, creating relationship with the existing system, and suddenly it's dying. Right? Well, I am in a better position, I feel, because I grew up in the time when the Soviet Union collapsed. Right? I'm from Ukraine, right? And now there's a war in my country. I went through these times when everything collapsed and everything was going through rebirth, right? So I'm not really intimidated. Like, the whole money system collapsed, people still survived and they found a way to thrive. And usually this is also the time of opportunity. This is a long conversation, I will not go there, but I just want to show up and support you if you feel intimidated by what is going on and what can happen to you personally and the loved ones. Now let's dive into creating these guidelines. I want to make it really clear. I want to use a simple language so it's very straightforward for everyone. You know, what can help us to feel better, what can help us to navigate this situation with grace and ease, right? Easy to say than to do, I totally understand. Yet if you take it into your system, not just like listen and drop out, because there are so many other messages out there, then, you know, it just doesn't download into your system. So I made a few notes to share with you and I do believe it can be helpful. Number one is shifting focus from, you know, the personality to soul. Personality versus soul. If you're here in my community, you're probably a spiritual person. What does it mean to be a spiritual person? It means that you believe that there is more than our physicality, right? You're not a materialistic person, right? You believe that there is a spirit. You believe there is more to human experience than just this body and this, you know, lifetimes. There is a soul. We have a soul, right? And when our soul comes to experience this physical reality, we have certain vision or intention, what we want to learn, what we want to experience. So we choose, you know, to incarnate, like what we call incarnation, becoming physical, and explore this lifetime to gain experience, to learn lessons, right? To grow on the soul level. So when we shift our focus from the goals of personality to the level of the soul, that can really create a huge difference of how you perceive current events in your life, in your personal life, in the world, right? This is a huge, it can help you to shift completely from being overwhelmed and trying to achieve something and questioning the values that you used to have, or maybe still holding on to, in this system that is falling apart, right? Holding on to something that was used to be important, and not letting go. And once you shift to the soul level, you understand this is it was never meant to be something permanent, right? It's just the temporary social setup. So it's okay to let go. It's okay not to know what's going to be instead of that. Yet, this is what your soul wanted to experience, right? I find it fascinating, like shifting your focus from what I want to accomplish as a person, as a personality, as a member of this society, right? To what my soul wants to learn and experience. Now, I invite you, if you're looking into new year 2023, the way you can shift that is creating a soul collage instead of the vision board that you usually create. Or maybe you don't, but many people do, right? What they teach in coaching and even therapy is like creating a vision board for the upcoming year, shifting from achievements in the society, buying a car, house, succeeding with your business, making that much money, blah blah blah, to something that your soul wants to experience. And also, like in the coaching work, we choose a word for every year, one word that represents our intention for the year. Well, last year, for 2022, I chose the word catharsis. And this is not something that is super fun and exciting, right? It can be really, really challenging to go through catharsis. But I connected to my soul. I knew my soul needed to go through this process of catharsis and letting go and purification of my system, right? My thoughts, my feelings, my relationships, rather than looking at what I want to achieve in external world, right? And especially in the system. So if you shift that, like what does your soul wants to experience in this upcoming year? Not your human personality, right? And it can be tricky. You're welcome to reach out personally. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. But this is so central. It will change everything in your life right now, because I can't even imagine how hard it can be for someone who is still focusing on achievements in this society. This society is dying. It sounds dramatic, but it is. The old stuff is dying, and we can't use it as a point of reference anymore. We have to go through this death rebirth together. And the only way to feel ease and grace and excitement is to focus on spirituality. It means to focus on your soul's lessons, the lessons of your soul, the experience that your soul wants to go through during this lifetime, being in the physical body, rather than achieving something in this society. All right? I will make more videos with the guidelines, because there are more things I want to share with you. But this one is very, very important, and I hope it's helpful.